neither am I personal with the controversial death of General Ogola. Looking at how the family spoke about it, especially his son, I'd like to assume that, in that state, maybe you don't want so much attention, or maybe you don't want it to look like you're disrespectful to the government. But on the other hand, General Ogola was the CDF of Kenya, Commander of Defense Force in Kenya, and Kenyans at large. He was being paid by taxpayers' money. And his mysterious death was questionable. Even a small boy would want to know, how is it possible that a general at his caliber will die a very cheap death like that. As you're aware, I mentioned some of these things in my last video. They say death is mystery. But sometimes you sit down and ask yourself why it had to happen. And that is why, as a Luo community, we felt that it is very important to ask why, regardless of what the president might have been trying to convince us that is unfortunate, that it could be normal, we still insist that the truth must come out. Because the feeling is that it is not normal. You are aware of the history that we've passed and undergone in all these governments. Kenyatta was president, we lost Paul Mboya. Moi came on board, we lost Robert Ouko. Kibaki came, we lost Odhiambo Mbai under mysterious circumstances. Uhuru Kenyatta came, we lost Msando. You saw how he was brutally murdered. The torture he underwent before his death, his fingers, the nails chopped off, his thumbprints. And then comes this new leadership that was forced down the necks of Kenyans in the name of President William Ruto, that did not want to see Ogola as the CDF. He took the shortest time that any other CDF has never undergone. Why did it have to be with General Ogola? Sometimes, I'm sorry, I ask myself, even Murkomen the other day fell down with a chopper. They didn't die. They survived. And if you look at the takeoff, it was just a short mile. But we're saying we lost lives, not only Ogola. But as a community of Luo, we have undergone a lot. Allow me to remind our younger generation, including Ogola's son, that might not be in tandem with where we are coming from. There was this legendary musician called Owino Misian. He sang a song called Beam and Beam. In the animal kingdom, there's this character called Beam. And he has a cousin called Onge. And in his narrative in this song, he tried to make us understand the character of these two animals. And in his description, he describes Beam as one that looks like he's cunning, had eyes with thorny eyelashes, that will never see other animals as part of the animal kingdom. They'll always fight for their own interest. They will always fight for their own interest, not the interest of the animal kingdom. And therefore, we need to go back and find out, where are we heading as a Luo nation? Where are we heading as a Luo nation? Okay. Ogola's son says that his father was a close ally to the president. We didn't say that we are suspecting the president. Conspiracies comes with many suspects involved. Conspiracies comes with many suspects involved. What we were demanding was that we must know what happened. We want to know the truth. As you have heard, Mheshimiwa Oburu Odinga said that so many cases have never seen the light of the day on these political assassinations. If Ogola was my father, irrespective of the will that he might have written, the mysterious death that he might have passed through, I would like to know, and I would have made sure that the truth comes out before my father was buried. Ogola was like the president after Ruto. He was not that anybody. I might speak as a nobody, but I speak as a son of a Luo nation. I speak from a background of the negative character that the Luos have been given. And I'm a frustrated Luo individual that would like to one day be accepted and to be seen as a Kenyan.
Okay, ningependa kukuuliza kwamba wakati General Ogola alifariki,
yes,
there is this statement that His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto said before he was announced as the president, that Ogola was one of the people who are trying to sabotage his victory.
Yes.
Can that be the cause of the death, literally, or what can you say about it?
I was not at Bomas,
Yeah.
but everybody saw what was happening at Bomas. What took place in Bomas was more of a coup, because we all know that Ruto did not win the elections. We all know that Chebukati announced fake results, forcing down Kenyans to accept that Ruto is now the president. What Chebukati did was conspiracy. And Ogola as the CDF, if indeed he went there, that was constitutional. If indeed his presence was there, to me, it was constitutional. But again, Raila, who was the victim, says that it was not the truth, because it was him that contested. And it was him that his victory was stolen. And it is him who went ahead and said that Ogola could have not contemplated to do what he did. Ogola's son, who was speaking in that funeral, should have asked the president, why are you demonizing my father in his coffin? He cannot speak out and say what happened, and you are demonizing a helpless body. Those are some of the things that should not be happening. If you look at how Ogola was buried, it hurts and it's very painful. Only a dog is buried in a hurry like that because there's no mortuary that is being taken. There's no preservation for its body. And only a dog will anticipate its death. No human being in his right senses will anticipate his death and organize how he's going to be buried. And if so, the mysterious kind of death that Ogola died was good enough to put an injunction to stop the burial, so that Kenyans can know what happened. But you see, how things happened was extremely unfair to our cultural traditions. A person at the level of the CDF where Ogola was should have not been buried within 72 hours the way it was said.
But that's what was according to his will.
And that is why I'm saying people write their will. But I'm also saying that sometimes the nature of the death can overcome these wills. Somebody can be murdered and maybe he wrote his will that his body be burnt, which means all the evidence will be burnt down. But if you find somebody murdered, however the will he wrote was, there has to be an injunction so that investigations can be done, then the cremation can be done. I don't know whether you get the point.
Right.
So a will is there, but there is law. Oburu tells us that in the death of Ouko, they was frustrated to an extent that even the family was being forced not to come out and speak to them, not to come out and express their displeasure over their kin's murder. So these are things that happen at the level of conspiracy. At the level of conspiracy, your instincts should drive you to know the family had the right to say, irrespective of my father's will, we want to know where the truth is. But if you see somebody anticipate his death, that means that somebody is after his life. We want to know who it was. Even if there was nobody, let us know there was nobody. If it was the aeroplane that did all this, let us know that the aeroplane killed our son. That is very important. After all, everybody wants to be clean. And you'll be shocked till date. We've been quiet because apparently the family was still mourning. But you will again be shocked to discover that since his death, nothing has been done to investigate what happened to Kenya's CDF. We want to know the truth because this is a man who spent his entire life paid with taxpayers' money. That is why we are saying the truth must come out. If it was natural, we don't have a problem. But spiritually, we feel something is amiss. And that is why we are calling for the top leadership of Luo Nyanza that it is high time we have our historic background check. We have lost so many brilliant and bright leaders who have done so much for this country, including our younger brothers who are killed in every elections. We see them as heroes. There should be a monument. There should be a monument that is designed and put in place so that our younger generation can know what is happening. We would like CARE to intervene so that we can have an historic site at Tofafa Memorial Hall. We know our history of the great Luos who died in the line of duty, struggling for this nation. We want to know who was Robert Ouko. We want to know who was Argo Skodek. We want to know who was Odhiambo Mbai. We want to know who was Msando. We want to know who was Otieno Kajwang. We want to know who was the boy we saw being shot innocently by a police officer at Kondele in the post-election 2007. We want to see the story of Baby Pendo. We want to see all those people who have been killed but have never seen justice at the end of the day. At our museum, we want to see them at Tofafa Memorial Hall. We want all these counties to make sure that there is somewhere where our younger generation can know. We want to know what happened in 1963 when independence was coming. What did Jaramogi do? What did Akinochengo Neko do? We want to know everything that we did as a Luo nation. Thank you.